going analog in a digital world. This may not be for you, but it has absolutely become a fantastic thing for me. And that is, I realized that what was happening to me is, and if you've been around me for any period of time, you know that I refer to the black shiny screens like they're inherently evil. They're not. Our phones, our tablets, our laptops, our desktops, everything is in there. Our goals are in there. Our schedules are in there. Our calendars are in there. And what ends up happening for me, I can only speak for me, is that I lose track of where things are. It's difficult for me to stay on top of my to-do lists and my projects and my calendar. So a while back, I was part of the Kickstarter campaign for something called the Passion Planner. Some of you may have seen this before. This is such a cool idea. I know it just looks like a moleskin or moleskine Italian pronunciation notebook, but here's what it is. It's a brilliant idea. If you go to passionplanner.com, you'll find it. While it does look like that, and it is every bit a calendar, it also has in the beginning some very cool ways to break down your goals and to create some visual representation about things that you want to do in your life. And man, I am loving it. I am loving it. Now, if you're a client of mine, if you're a coaching client, you're probably going to hear more about this as I get more familiar with it. But for example, there's, sort of my month at a glance, right? And then, if I want to look at a week, for me, that is very helpful to visually be able to look at a week at a glance and my various appointments that are in there. So anyway, it started there, feels good. It's tactily pleasing. And then I bought this book, The Doodle Revolution. Why? Because it says, unlock the power to think differently. And for me, I've always sort of, I've loved the idea of doodling concepts and images, but I'd love to get better at that. And so that started me down an interesting path where I decided I was going to get more into writing things down. And years ago, I had bought this journal, my all-time favorite journal of all time, no longer being produced by this company, but I loved it because of the pen loops on the side. And this is just, this is where I make my notes for events and so forth, but I got away from it. And I was doing it in my iPad mini, and it was great. It was very efficient, but I realized that there was something about the tactile writing things down. And then I read about it, and there's neuroscience behind it, that it actually helps us to remember concepts. So then I had bought this a few years ago, and now I've filled it up. This is leather. Filled it up with pens, right? So I am now traveling with some pretty cool stuff, right? This is my tactile representation of the things that I want to remember. So look, I'm sorry to be so long, and I know you're going to push back and say, yeah, cool, Bill. I could have all of that in my smartphone. And I totally get it, and I honor that. I'm just telling you that for Coach Bill Hart, it enabled me to feel like I had my arms around my life better, and I want to challenge you to consider the same. Consider analog over digital.